fundamental rights. Let's learn a mnemonic. There is no remedy in cultural and educational philosophy to obtain freedom of religion. Thus, people are exploited in the name of freedom and denied equality. Right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, rights to constitutional remedy. So this is the sequence. Right to equality, Article 14 to 18, right to freedom, Article 19 to 22, right against exploitation, Article 23 and 24, right to freedom of religion, Article 25 to 28, cultural and educational rights, Article 29 and 30, right to constitutional remedies, Article 32. So this is the sequence to remember the articles from backwards. Now, these rights are in the part 3 of the Constitution, which covers Article 12 to 35. The concept of fundamental rights has been taken from the USA, from the Bill of Rights. Features of fundamental rights. Some are available only to citizens, while other available to both citizens and foreigners. They are not absolute but qualified. Means I can do anything. I have fundamental right, but I shall not trample upon the fundamental rights of others, or I shall not do in the name of fundamental rights any thing which is against the society. So these are qualified. There are restrictions. They are not sacrosanct. Sacrosanct means they are not that they cannot be amended. They can be amended. Some rights are positive, some are negative. Negative means I cannot do this thing, or state, government cannot do this thing. This is negative. Positive means I am empowered to do these things by the virtue of fundamental rights I have been granted. So these are positive or negative. They are defended by Supreme Court. That is you can directly go to court to enforce your fundamental rights. So these are defended by Supreme Courts. These can be amended, they can be suspended in emergency. Except Article 20 and 21. Except Article 20 and 21, these can be suspended in emergency, and also Article 19 can only be suspended in emergency if the emergency is on the grounds of external war or aggression. Their application to armed forces, paramilitary, is restricted. That is, some fundamental rights are not applicable to armed forces or paramilitary. This is given in the Article 33. Armed forces, paramilitary forces, police, analogous services, and their application can be restricted in when the martial law is in place. Restricted when martial law is in place. Article 34. Some fundamental rights are enforceable only by Parliament and not by State Legislative Assembly. This is Article 35. So these are the basic features of fundamental rights. Article 12, it defines the definition of state. It includes Government and Parliament of India, that is executive and legislative organs of India, Government of India, Government and legislative assembly of states, all local authorities, local authorities means municipality, district boards, all statutory and non-statutory bodies. Statutory means any body which has the backing of the law. I create a law, through that law I create a body. This is called statutory body. Example, ONGC, companies, etc. So this all is under the ambit of state. Article 13. All laws that are inconsistent with the fundamental rights shall be null and void. That is, if I enact any law and if it is in contravention to fundamental rights, it will be null and void. Here laws means laws of the parliament, laws of the state legislature, delegated legislation, that is orders, bylaws, notifications, customs. These are in the definition or ambit of laws. And there was a debate that Constitutional Amendment Act, constitutional amendment is not a law. So if it is not a law, then it cannot be challenged. But in the Keshwananda Bharti case, it was said that Constitutional Amendment Act is a law and it can be challenged. So therefore, the present position is that constitutional amendment can be challenged. Who will declare that these laws are inconsistent? Supreme Court. So this is the doctrine of judicial review. Doctrine of judicial review. So Article 13 provides the scope of doctrine of judicial review, that is, judiciary can review whether these laws are consistent or inconsistent with fundamental right. Article 14. State shall not deny to any person equality before law and equal protection of law. Any person, here the person can also be legal person, that is company, society. Now the state shall not deny to any person equality before law and equal protection of law. Equality before law, that is British origin term and this is American term. It is negative term. It is positive term. Equality before law means nobody is above the law. All persons are subject to same laws. Absence of special privilege. Nobody is above the law. Everybody are equal in front of the law. All persons are subject to same laws. That is, all persons are subject to same laws. There are no different laws for different kind of person. Absence of special privileges. Nobody has the special privilege that this person has special privilege, so we should give this much of relaxation. There is nothing like this. This is the term equality before law and it is negative C. Nobody is above the law. Law is everything. Nobody is above the law. All persons are subject to the same laws. Absence of special privilege, absence, it is negative connotation, negative term. And equal protection of law is a positive term. equality of treatment under equal circumstances. Like should be treated alike. Similar application to same laws to persons who are similarly situated. Let's say there are 5 policemen. So these policemen are similarly situated. All are policemen. So there will be similar application to all these 5 policemen. Like should be treated alike, that every policeman, they are all like. Alike also means like. So these like persons, same person should be treated similarly. That nothing is this person is above the rank, this person is of lower rank, all are policemen. Equality of treatment under equal circumstances. They all have the same circumstances, that they are the policemen. As an example of this, equal protection of law. So it is negative term. A.V. Dicey has explained the concept of equality before law. He said that 3 conditions are fulfilled. Absence of arbitrary power, equal subjection to all citizens to the law of land, and constitution is a result of the rights of individual. See the context in India. Absence of arbitrary power, yes. Except breach of law, nobody should be punished. So no arbitrary power there except the breach of law. Equal subjection to all citizens to the law of land, yes. Any law prevails in India, that law will be equally subjected to all citizens. And constitution is the result of rights of individuals. Thus, but in India case, this is not the constitution is not the result of rights of individuals. Rather, constitution is a power which give rights to the individual. In India, we get our rights through constitution, but our constitution is not the result of the collective rights of our individuals. So this is not applicable in case of India. This is applicable and this is applicable. Now, exceptions to Article 14. Remember this: 361, 361A, 105, 194. 361. President and governors have been given immunities. President and governor are not answerable to any court in discharge of their duties in the office. No criminal proceedings shall be initiated during their term. Criminal proceedings cannot be initiated against President and Governor during their term. No civil proceedings can also be initiated except when the period of 2 months have elapsed after giving them notice. First you have to give the notice, then after 2 months civil proceedings can be initiated. No arrest can be made during their term. These are the immunities under Article 361 given to President and Governor. This is the first exception of equality of law. Second, Article 361A. There will be no civil or criminal proceedings against any person who publishes a true substantial report of any proceedings of the Parliament or state legislature. Let's say if I publishes a report which is substantially true of the proceedings of the Parliament or state legislature in a newspaper, there will be no proceedings against me. This is Article 361A. No proceedings of any person if he publishes a report in newspaper. Then Article 105. No proceedings shall be instituted against MPs, Member of Parliament, if they say anything or if they vote in Parliament or in any committee. If I am an MP, I vote in Parliament or in any committee, and if I say something in Parliament, there will be no proceedings against me. Similarly, if MLA, Member of Legislative Assembly, says something or votes in the State Assembly or says something in the State Assembly or in committee, no proceedings shall be instituted against them. This is Article 194. Then there are immunities given to the diplomats, ambassadors. There is also immunities given to United Nations organization and its agencies. And last and important thing is that if any law is made to implement directive principle of state policy, not all directive principle of state policy, that is Article B and C part of Article 39, which says that concentration of wealth should not be there. and there should be equitable distribution of resources. If any law is made to effect these things, then it cannot be challenged that you are violating equality of law. This is an important thing. So Supreme Court has given one line that when Article 39 comes in, Article 14 goes out. So for prelims you have to remember all these exceptions, and what is equality of law. A.V. Dicey has said something. There are two terms, one meaning negative, one meaning positive. What are the different things? This was all about Article 14. State shall not discriminate against any citizen on grounds only of religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth. Therefore, state shall not discriminate against any citizen on the basis of only, means state can discriminate except these grounds. State should not discriminate grounds only of religion. Whatever is religion, you cannot discriminate on the basis of religion, on the basis of race, on the basis of caste, whether you are male or female, or you are born here or someplace else. You cannot be discriminated. This is first provision of Article 15. Second provision, no citizen shall be subject to any disability, liability, restriction, condition on the basis of only same religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth. With respect to access to shops, restaurant, hotel, wells, tanks, bathing ghats, public resort, maintained by state funds, that is maintained by government expenditure. There cannot be discrimination. No citizen shall be subject to any disability, liability, restriction, or condition on the basis of this with respect to access of this. If anybody, let's say, anybody wants to go to a shop, so he cannot be discriminated on the basis of religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth that he cannot go to shop. He is of such religion, he cannot go to shop. He is of such sex, male, female, he cannot go to shop. Wells, tanks, bathing ghat, scheduled caste cannot go to bathing ghat. This used to happen, so government has forbidden this. Now exceptions to Article 15. State is permitted to make special provisions with respect to children and women. So if state is making some special provisions for women, you cannot say that you have been discriminated on the basis of sex. If I am a male, if somebody is making, government is making special provisions for females, I cannot say that I am being discriminated on the basis of sex. This is an exception. Also, state is permitted to make special provisions for the advancement of socially and educationally backward classes and scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. See, you have to remember this term, socially and educationally backward class. This keeps on repeating in polity. So state is permitted to make anything for the advancement of socially and economically backward classes and scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. Next exception. State is permitted to make special provisions for the advancement of socially and economically, educationally backward classes and scheduled caste and scheduled tribes with respect to admissions in educational institutions. Whether aided or unaided. Even private. So if government is making something for the advancement of socially and educationally backward classes or scheduled caste or scheduled tribe with respect to their admission in the institutions, so it cannot be challenged that it is against the Article 15. And for overall advancement also it cannot be challenged. If a state is making something for women and children, special provisions, you cannot challenge. So these are the exceptions to Article 15. So therefore the quota came. Quota was held valid at 27% for OBCs. Article 16. No citizen shall be discriminated against employment, appointment, to any office under the state. That is, in employment in the government, you cannot discriminate. Only on basis of recall, only on grounds of in the Article 15, and note down what is the difference in Article 16. Religion, race, caste, sex, descent, place of birth or residence. Difference is the descent. There is addition, one more addition, descent. Exceptions. Parliament can prescribe residence as a requirement in state services or local authority. This is an exception. Parliament can prescribe that you should belong to this state or this region. Incumbent of any office of religious institution belong to particular religion. That is, let's say if any religious institution is there, somebody is heading, there is an office employment in that religious institution. So if you want the employment, you want a person to be appointed or to be selected for the employment of that office, so that should belong to a particular religion. This is an exception. Reservation in appointment in favor of backward class not adequately represented. In state services. That is, any backward class which is not representative. There are few persons in overall state services of any backward class. So state can make provisions that okay, we appoint this person to this post. This is an exception to Article 16. Article 17. Abolishes untouchability. And its practice in any form. Untouchability is not defined in the Constitution. Untouchability refers to the practice which has developed over the time. Practice developed historically. It is the disabilities imposed to the person by the virtue of their birth in certain caste. Disabilities imposed to persons by birth in certain caste. Court has said social boycott of individuals is not untouchability. If any person is boycotted socially, maybe he is doing something immoral or due to any reason, if he is being boycotted socially due to some wrongs, so this does not amount to untouchability. He cannot claim that my fundamental right is being violated. For this, to abolish untouchability, government has enacted Protection of Civil Rights Act. (1955). Next, Article 18. Prohibition, abolition of titles. It prohibits the state to give titles to persons except military and academic. Military titles can be given colonel, brigadier. Academic titles can also be given doctor. This article also prohibits citizens to accept titles from foreign state. And any foreigner holding an office of profit cannot accept gifts, emoluments, without the permission of President. And the national awards which are instituted, these awards does not, Vibhushan, Padma Vibhushan, these awards does not amount to titles. National awards does not amount to titles. Article 19, right to freedom. It has 6 rights. Right to speech and expression, right to assemble peacefully, and without arms, right to form association, trade union, cooperative society, right to move freely throughout the territory of India, right to reside in any part of India, and right to carry on any occupation, trade, business. How to learn all these? Consider case of friends. I called my friends. My friends are Sankalp, Roshan, Ankit, Arun, Aditya. I called them. So this is my speech and expression right. Now I called them, we assembled somewhere peacefully and without arms. Get together. So after that, right to assemble peacefully and without arm. And we decided that we should form a union or a gang, something like this. So right to form association, trade union or cooperative society. Then we together just hang out somewhere. We moved somewhere and went for a walk. So right to move freely throughout India. Then we thought that we should settle here at some place, right to reside in any part of India, and then we thought that we should carry on some trade or occupation or business here. So right to occupation, trade or business. So at, from this point of view, you can learn the things. So first, right to speech and expression. You can express your views. You can give speech through word of mouth, writing, picturing, printing. But there are reasonable restrictions. For example, security of India, sovereignty and integrity of India, friendly relation with foreign states, decency, morality, contempt of court, defamation, incite to offense, public order. These are the grounds on which right to speech and expression can be stopped. Next, right to assemble peacefully and without arms. This includes right to hold public meetings, demonstrations, it does not include right to strike. Restrictions on this: sovereignty and integrity of India, and public order, including management of traffic, including management of traffic. Next, right to form associations, trade union or cooperative society. This includes right to form political parties, organizations, companies, partnership firms, unions. It also include the right not to join any union or political party or any organization. And the restrictions on this right to form associations are sovereignty and integrity of India, public order, morality. Next, right to move freely throughout India. This is given a right to promote the unionness, in friendliness, India as a unity to all the citizens. So you can move throughout the India. It covers only internal movement and not external. Internal means within India. External means outside India. Only internal movement is covered by this right. And exceptions, against interest of general public, against interest of scheduled tribes, because scheduled tribes have their distinctive culture, distinctive way of life, so they are sometimes given separate area, no external interference is allowed. So therefore on the basis of that, right to move can be restricted, and right to movement of prostitutes can be restricted also on the grounds of public health and morals. So prostitutes movement can be regulated. Next, right to reside in any part of India. This is also to promote India as a unity. There is a unity, friendliness to mixture of cultures from the different regions. So I can reside in any part of India. Again, this right can be restricted on the grounds of against the interest of general public. Interest of general public and protection of interest of scheduled tribes. You cannot say I want to reside in the core area of scheduled tribes. Next, right to occupation, trade or business. In this case, state is empowered, means government is empowered to prescribe any technical qualification for a job or a trade or a business. Or any criteria. And also state is empowered to carry on its own any business. Carry on its own. Let's say nuclear energy. If state wants to reserve this nuclear energy occupation for itself, then we do not have a right of occupation, trade or any business. This is, state is empowered to do this. And reasonable restrictions is also interest of general public. So this was all about Article 19.